The review of the Audio-Technica LP140XP, sounds like a barcode, is one I don't necessarily want to do because I don't really particularly feel that a review from me is fair to Audio-Technica. I will do it though because it's demanded. What I mean by that is I get lots of people asking for buyer's advice, buying new turntables. And often when people approach me, they'll say, I've got this amount of cash, I want to do this with a turntable. Here's a little list of turntables I quite like. And often there's an Audio-Technica turntable in there. To date, it's been the AT120. And I've never really given it a proper review. Now the 140 is out, which is it's like the one, I'll call it the 120 and the 140 just to be simple. The 140 is a bit like the big brother of the 120. The 140 is about £350. The 120 is about £250, something like that. The 120 offers a USB port for vinyl ripping and a built-in phono amp. The 140 offers none of that. The 140 has a deeper plinth. It's heavier. The plinth itself is heavier by about 2 kilograms, more substantial. Comes with a full-size IEC power port on the back, so you can upgrade the mains cable, which I recommend. So all of these things are a little bit more, slightly more audiophile in their approach, but Audio-Technica sees the 140 as a DJ deck. Audio-Technica is selling this as a DJ tool. It's not selling it as an audiophile turntable. But that will not stop, I know, people saying to me, should I buy this as part of my budget vinyl hi-fi system? It happens all the time with the company's 120. It'll happen with the 140, which is why I'm talking about it now. Now, so as I say, it's a little bit unfair to Audio-Technica, but hey, public demand, eh? So it's a tool, and because it's a tool, it comes with DJ furniture all over it, which is not great for audiophile listening. So you've got a variable pitch slider, you've got the strobe light, you've got the little pop-up light on the sort of 5 o'clock position. You press a button and all that pops up. All these things get in the way of good sound. It's all of those typical DJ tools which are essential for the DJ professional are not wanted by an audiophile listener because they create noise. They create high frequency noise which masks subtle detail, things like reverb and certain emotional aspects of the sound, you know, how much effort people are putting into strumming a guitar, that type of stuff. The actual furniture itself in themselves create vibration, again adding to the noise. The mere fact that they're there is an issue. So you will find, for example, if let me just compare it. If you looked at a Project Essentials 3 or the debut or a Riga Planner 1, you won't see any of that. And there's a good reason, because you don't need it. In fact, it's better without it. You look at all of those turntables, Project and Riga, it's stripped right down to the basics. And that's to encourage a purity of sound. There is a reason for that design. It's not just prettifying or simplifying, it's purifying. So, this particular deck, the 140, as soon as I saw it for review, I mean, I've reviewed plenty of turntables in my time. I knew there's going to be issues in that direction. Nevertheless, I did a wide range of reviews. Let me just finish the techie bit. The arm, usual S-shaped arm, looks like the same as on the 140 as on the 120. There's a new cartridge, the XP3. I think it's going to cost you about £45 if you did buy it separately, but it comes with the 140 bundled. And it's aimed at DJs. It uses a conical stylus, which is fine. Elliptical is better. It's known for its tracking. It's promoted as being, it's going to stick to your vinyl like glue. Great for DJs, slightly worrying for audiophiles. There's 3 kilograms of tracking force on there. This is a cartridge rather, which is aimed at sticking to the groove no matter what happens. So you can throw the 140 into reverse, and that's another DJ tool which I also didn't mention. The mere fact that it can go on in reverse. Not audiophile, folks. Not audiophile. So this cartridge copes with all of that. Anyway, I did some tests. I did an initial test with a Lenco L3808, 200 quid, £200. It's like a cheap and cheerful 140. The 140 looks like a Rolls Royce compared. But it does the same thing. Direct drive, similar look and feel to the 140, the Lenco. Similar, but much cheaper. Cheaper parts, cheaper build. And it sounded cheaper. The 140 was far superior, had greater space and air in the soundstage, sounded a little bit more interesting in the mid-range, where the Lenco drums were fine. There was a little bit more complexity from the 140. First hints of reverb, reverb tails from cymbal hits, that sort of thing. The 140 had great bass, very firm, bold, really in your face, great presence. Mid-range, focus, precision, sharp. Now, the issue I had with the Lenco, which I've done a review of this, I'll put a link below, and it was similar. The Lenco demanded a high tracking force. I think that was 3 grams. Conical stylus. Audio-Technica design cartridge on the Lenco, incidentally. And it was too much. I had to back off. I reduced it from 3 to 2 grams on the tracking force. I would recommend the same on the 140. If you're going to get the 140, back off on the tracking. 3 grams, the bass is too much in the face. It's too dominant. It's too bloated. Mid-range, if anything, despite the extra space, I would say it's slightly edgy. I could imagine a little bit of listening fatigue over time. Back it off to 2 grams. The bass fits better into the mix. The mid-range, a little bit more elegant. Sounds nicer. So 140, better than the Lenco, no problem. But then it should do. It's £150 more. It should do, but it does. Then I thought to myself, the XP3. The XP3 cartridge, it's a DJ tool. Let's change it. Let's change it for something audiophile. So I grabbed an Audiphile 2M Red. Now, this is an extra £90, so we're upping the budget here. But nevertheless, I would recommend changing the cartridge if you get yourself a 140. You can get something cheaper, but just for now, there are some elliptical cartridges from Audio-Technica around the sort of £30–40 mark, which I would actually, even though it's the same price, I would actually look for an elliptical stylus tip. You're going to get more detail. But for this test, I thought I'd go for something just a little bit more upmarket. So I picked a 2M Red, probably cost about £90 if you bought it from Amazon or wherever. Much better sound. It helped the 140. The 140 is capable of doing more. The XP3 holds it back a bit. So with the 2M Red in place, again, more finesse, more maturity, richer sound, slightly more organic bass. the 2M Red did the job, and I felt the entire soundstage was opened up. It was much larger. The XP3 had a slightly more constricted, claustrophobic feel. The 2M Red opened it all up, felt a little bit more relaxed. Now, I brought in another turntable at this point because you're looking now with the 2M Red in place, you're hitting up against the same market as the Canadian company Fluence are hitting. They have a turntable called the RT83. Similarly compromised in terms of design because the Fluence has a semi-automatic action. So there's noise in that too. So there are similar compromises. In terms of face-off, I would give it a score draw in football terms. In that the Fluence, again, with a 2M Red in place, and when you buy a Fluence 83, RT83, it comes with the 2M Red. So this was an ideal A-B comparison. I would say the Fluence, again, more, I'd use that word elegant. It had a more interesting, elegant, more emotional mid-range, better than the 140 in that area, did a better job. The 140 had better transient performance. What I mean by that is that you could really hear the start and the stop of notes with the 140. This is all helped by its direct drive motor. So that won, as it were, in that area. The bass on the Fluence was slightly more organic, tonally more interesting. The 140 had a better grip, better precision in the bass, slightly more vivacious and vigorous mid-range as well. So overall, Fluence, more finesse, elegance. 140, power, grip, muscle. But pros and cons for both. That said, if you had a 2M Red on a 140, you're paying £90 more than the Fluence, so there's that price difference. I thought I would try the 140 with a true audiophile design from the ground up. So I compared it with a Riga Planner 1. The Riga Planner 1's 248, a full £100 cheaper. And the sound, it just blew away the 140, I'm afraid. The 140 couldn't cope. The Riga Planner 1 sounded like a grown-up, mature, adult turntable. The most significant part was the low noise. The Riga sounded relaxed, it sounded at ease with itself. Music seemed to flow very easily. The 140 in comparison sounded uptight, stressed, as if I hadn't had a good night's sleep, too much caffeine, you know, that sort of feel. And it showed that the Audio-Technica is a lifestyle design. It's not an audiophile design. If you're going to buy a 140, know what you're getting into. The 140 is a very nice turntable, don't get me wrong. It's not designed to be an audiophile turntable. It is a DJ deck. So if you're going to use it as an audiophile turntable, be aware. It looks nice, it looks funky, it has that Technics thing. It has positive elements with a direct drive, precision and focus and power, bass, blah, blah, blah. Use it with the right cartridge. Be aware that to back off the tracking, if you're going to keep the XP3 cartridge that comes with it. It's a very nice turntable, does a lot of things nicely, but it's not a true audiophile deck. That said, there are many people who will love what the Audio-Technica, if I can say the words, gives to the ear. It has that sort of real source of strength and almost brutish sometimes. But that can sound great with rock. It really rocks with rock. I wouldn't necessarily give it classical food, and jazz, maybe not. But anything high energy, rock, electronica, all that sort of stuff, go for it. You know, bit of craft work. Oh yeah, it's going to really just like rock your night away, as it says. If you want to know more, if you want a more detailed, more methodical review, I've done that. It's below. There's a link, takes you to my blog. I've done a very organized magazine-like blow by blow, technical background, sound tests, formal, blah, blah, blah. Comments, I'd love to know. If you have already got one of these things, let me know what you think. If you have a 120, again, I'd like to know what your thoughts are. If you have a 120 and you like the 120. If got any questions, again, comment down below. Keep it clean, polite, no swearing. This is a family channel, and I will see you a bit later on in the next video, I hope.